Today I'm going to show you how to make a working tool shop that players can actually buy items from. Okay, so let's get started because if you look on my right, you'll see that there is actually a lot of different UI elements in here, but I promise none of these are necessities at all. I just go crazy whenever I'm making GUIs and I try and make them look as good as possible. You don't need half of this stuff. I'll tell you exactly what you need. So for each item that you want to actually sell, you're going to need a select button. So for example, we have the baseball bat, the sword, and the axe. These are the three items that we're going to be selling. So we need a bat select button, a sword select button, and an axe select button. And the other button we need is a buy button. Make sure you've got these named sort of, the same sort of way that I've got them. If you've got different items, name them that, but you just need something that you're going to be able to reference later on because this code might be marked down as an advanced tutorial. I don't really know yet. There is some things in this code that are going to be a little bit complicated, but we are going to get through it together. I'm going to try to explain it the best I can. So this is pretty much assuming that you already have a leader stat script set up, as in you already have a server script service leader stat script that basically just lets the player have some sort of monetary value. So for example, mine is money. This is what mine's going to be called. If you need to pause this, go ahead and copy my script for here. This will basically just give you a quick in-game currency checker, which you'll be able to process transactions with. But first of all, we actually need to configure a client script or a local script because we are the client, we are clicking on our select buttons, we are clicking on our buy button. The server doesn't know that. That's just what we're seeing on our client. So we need some way to actually send that information over to the server so that it can process our transaction. So instead of actually going into all the buttons and adding loads of different scripts, we're just going to do this all in one central script in our GUI. So head into your shop frame. If you have anything, if you can even do it in your screen GUI, you can do it anywhere. You could even put it in a button if you wanted to, as long as you're referencing all of your variables and your UI elements correctly. You can put it anywhere you want. Just make sure you direct it to the right place. So I'm going to put mine underneath shop frame. So I'm going to press the little white plus and I'm going to add a local script. I'm just going to rename this to core script because this is pretty much going to be the hub where everything in our script happens on the client. Okay, so first of all, let's just delete our default code. Well, the first thing we actually need is our player. So we're just going to say local player equals game colon get service players dot local player. Then the next thing we're actually going to need in order to communicate with the server is a remote event. Now I've gone through this in past videos before. If you don't really understand what a remote event is, all it is a way of the client communicating to the server and the server communicating to the client. So we're going to head up to our replicated storage and we're going to press the little white plus and we're going to search for remote event. I'm just going to call this purchase tool so we have something that we can communicate with the server with. So now we're going to specify in our script, we're going to say local event equals game colon get service replicated storage colon wait for child purchase tool. Okay, awesome. So now we actually need to get our GUI. We need to just sort of lay out all the principles, where are all our buttons and stuff. Now this is going to be different for you no matter what. I will actually be leaving the file in my Discord. If you want to head into that, you can come and get this and just get the exact GUI that I've got because I understand that it is a little bit complicated, but it's also really good practice for you to actually just be referencing your variables yourselves and just making sure that you actually have them in the right places, because that is a lot of the time where all of your errors happen, is when you're just misinterpreting where your variables are, where your UI elements are, where everything is. So just make sure that you're double checking where you've put them. Yeah, let's begin. So first of all, let's get our GUI. So we're going to say local GUI equals script.parent.parent. So that would reference our screen GUI. Then we actually need to get our shop frame. So we're going to say local shop frame equals script.parent. So then that's our shop frame done. That's this one here. Now, of course, you'll probably have a different structure to me. You might not even need any of these. This is just how I'm doing it for this one. And for anyone following along using my GUI. Next, we actually need to get our buy button. So we're going to say local buy button equals shop frame.buy button. And then we actually need to get our three select buttons that we've made here. So these are very, very vital that you get right, otherwise your script will not work. So we're going to say local bat select button equals shop frame dot baseball bat container dot bat select button. So yours will be different to that unless you're using my GUI, but just make sure you're putting it in the right places and everything. And then we're basically going to do the exact same thing for the sword and the axe. So we're going to say local sword select button equals shop frame dot sword container dot sword select button. And then for the axe, local axe select button equals shop frame dot axe container dot axe select button. Now we need to create 3 variables. So these are going to be Boolean variables which we're going to pass onto the server to basically say, okay, we're picking this tool, but not this tool or this tool. We want to buy this tool. So we're going to say local bat selected equals false. And then we're basically going to repeat the process 2 more times for our sword and our axe. We're going to say local sword selected equals false, local axe selected equals false. Now we can actually start detecting when we're pressing our buttons. So let's say we press on our bat select button. We want to log into the client that we want to actually buy the bat and not the sword and not the axe. So then when we press the buy button, it's actually going to send that information over to the server and not say, oh, here's a sword. Oh, I know you wanted a bat, but here's a sword. Oh, or do you want an axe instead? We can give you that. We just want the bat no matter what. So we're going to be doing this process 3 times. So we're first going to say bat select button dot mouse button 1 click colon connect function, and then just head down the line, and then we're just going to alter our 3 variables here, and we're going to repeat this 3 more times. So you'll see quite a lot of repetition in these scripts, but this is just the simplest way I can imagine to do it. You can do it with for loops and stuff, but I feel like that's a little bit too advanced for now, but this is just a super simple script. So we're going to say bat selected equals true, sword selected equals false, axe selected equals false. So what we're saying is once they press the bat select button, we're going to mark bat selected as true. So we have selected the bat, but we're not selecting these 2. So then all you actually have to do is just copy and paste it 2 more times. And then all you have to do is just change sword select button, and then we'll change bat selected to false, sword selected to true, and then on our next one, axe select button, bat selected false, and axe selected true. And then the absolute last thing that we have to do is just detect whenever we've actually pressed our buy button, and we're going to send off our information to the server. So we're just going to say buy button dot mouse button 1 click connect function, and then we're going to say event colon fire server, and we're going to pass through our variables because we need to check on the server, okay, have they actually selected a certain tool, and if so, then we're going to give them it. So we're going to say bat selected, comma, sword selected, comma, axe selected. Okay, great. That's actually all we need for our local script at the moment. So now we actually have the client side set up, so it will remember what we press, and if we press select on the baseball bat, it will remember that. And once we press buy, it will send off the fact that we've actually pressed on the baseball bat. That will send it to the server. So now the next thing we have to do is actually accept the information on the server and do something about it. So we're going to head up to our server script service over here. I'm going to press the little white plus, add a script. I'm going to call it purchase handler. So now we kind of need to do the same thing we did earlier. We just need to get a bunch of different variables and stuff to really set up our workspace. So we're going to say local rs, which stands for replicated storage. It's just easier to type, equals game colon get service, replicated storage. Then we need to get our event again. So we're going to say local event equals rs colon wait for child purchase tool, which is our event. And then we actually need to get the tools that we want to give our players, because it's all very well they buy them, but we actually need to give them to them and put them in their backpack. So I actually have 3 here in my workspace. I have an axe, a bat, and a sword. Make sure that they're named in a very simple, easy to access way for you, just so you know exactly what you're doing. And all we're going to do is we're going to select all 3 of them and drag them into replicated storage. Let's head back into our script, and we're just going to specify our tools. So we're going to say local bat equals rs colon wait for child bat, local axe equals rs colon wait for child axe, local sword equals rs wait for child sword. So if you don't know what wait for child means, all it's doing is it's going to wait for the axe, the sword, and the bat to load before it actually continues with the script. Every single time you're typing wait for child, it's halting the script where it is, and if it hasn't loaded, then it's not going to run. This is just a good way of sort of fail-safing your script to make sure that it's going to run under any presenses. So now we actually need to make some variables for how much our items actually cost, because we need to be able to check that. So we're going to say local bat cost equals, and then if you already have them written down, I've already got my prices here, which is $10, $50, and $100. So my baseball bat costs $10, my sword costs $50, and my axe costs $100. So I'm just going to write that in here. I'm going to say bat cost equals 10, local sword cost equals 50 and local axe cost equals 100. And that's all the variables we're actually going to need for this script. So the next thing we actually need to do is detect when our event has been fired, and we're going to simply take all the information from that client, including the player and their selection, and then we're going to take their money from them if they have enough, and then we're going to give them the tool they bought. So let's give it a go. We're going to say event.onServerEvent connect function, and you can see that our first argument here is a player, so we didn't actually specify to send a player in Fire Server, but no matter what, whenever you're handling an on-server event, the first argument will always be the player that it fired from. So we're just going to say player, and then we have our three other arguments that we have here. We have bat selected, sword selected, and axe selected. So what we can actually do is just copy them from our core script, and we can just go back in here and just paste them. Go down a line, and there we go. We have all of our 4 variables set up that we need. So now we actually need to get the player's money. We're going to say local money equals player.leaderstats.money, and make sure it's capitalized correctly, otherwise it won't work. Next, we're actually going to start off with our conditional. So we need to actually check which one they've selected, and if they have selected it, we're going to deduct the money. So we're going to say if bat selected then. So if you're confused on what I mean by if bat selected then, that just means if bat selected equals true, then. That's all that means. It's just a simpler way of writing things. So then we're going to check the money. We're going to say if money.value is bigger than or equal to bat cost, then. So we're checking, do they actually have enough money to buy it? And then if they do, we're going to say money.value equals money.value minus bat cost. So we're saying if they have enough money to buy it, then we're actually going to deduct the amount that bat cost is from their money balance. And then we actually need to give them the tool. So we're going to say local clone bat equals bat::clone, which basically just duplicates it. That's all it really does. And then we actually need to put it in the player's backpack. So we're going to say clone bat.parent equals player.backpack. And that was all we need for buying the bat. That will work if we went into our game now and we actually tested out if we could buy the bat, it would 100% work. So we basically just need to repeat this 3 more times. Like I said, there's a lot of repetition in this script. So all you actually need to do is just highlight up until if bat selected, and we're just going to duplicate it twice, just down like that. And then we're basically going to repeat the exact same process, but just change around the variables. So we're going to say instead of bat selected, we're going to say sword selected, and then instead of bat cost, it'd be sword cost. And then instead of sword cost again, just make sure you're changing all the variables, make sure it's all right. Instead of clone bat, clone sword, and then clone sword.parent, and then bat should be sword clone. And then we're basically going to do the exact same thing again on this one down here on our axe. So axe selected, instead of bat cost, it'll be axe cost, and then again, and then instead of clone bat, it will be clone axe. Instead of bat::clone, it'll be axe::clone, and then clone axe again. Brilliant, that is actually all we need. So this will function. If we actually go into our game now and test it out, you can see up here I already have 1,000 set. I actually did that in my leader stat script just to make sure I already had enough for this tutorial. So let's give it a little test. So if I just press on the baseball bat, if I press select, and then I press buy, you can see that it actually deducts 10 from us and gives us a baseball bat. You can't really see it, but it is in my hand. And then let's try the sword, select and buy. You can see it took 50 and we have a sword. And then again for the axe, if we select it, we press buy, it took away 100 and we have our axe. So this will work universally for every single player in your game. So there you go. If this tutorial did actually help you, please make sure to like and subscribe. If you have any comments or concerns or your code isn't working, please let me know in the comment section below and I'll do my best to help. We also have a Roblox group and a Discord if you'd like to join that. Links in the description below. We have some really nice people over there who would love to help you with your code if you have any problems with it. And yeah, I'll see you later.